Greetings and salutations, family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Broadcasting Community. Shout out to Envision Photography and Video. If you need videography or photography for weddings, for baby showers, for music videos, for commercials, for real estate, whatever the case may be, hit up Envision Photography and Video. Also, Marlon Harvey on Facebook. Shout out to the Louisiana All-American Sports Network. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. In fact, no. We're gonna let a few more people come on in the building. Let's run it back. You know what I'm saying? Let's run it back. All right. Before I get the live stream going, this weekend is going to be the inaugural LDBC family reunion. I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but I definitely want to give a big shout out to the entire LDBC family. You did. Shout out to my brother, 7A Sports TV. He has two channels. His primary channel is 7A Sports TV. His backup channel is the No 304 Show. If you like boxing, just sports in general, go over to my brother 7A Sports TV channel and check him out. He is the leader of this phenomenal organization that I'm a part of. Also, go check out my brother Jared 11 Green on his channel. We have officially moved HBCU Fanatics from my channel to his channel. So go over to his channel and check him out. On Sundays, we do the Southern Baller Show. Also, a couple times a month, we do the Black Man's Perspective. Go to his channel and check him out. Also, go check out my brother Brent Fox on his channel. With his show is just me starring Brent Fox. He does some excellent boxing content. Of course, he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, unfortunately, just like my brother Jared 11 Green is a Baltimore Ravens fan. But I mean, it is what it is. And then also go check out my brother Growing with Soul. Like if you in growing plants and just trying to get into survival mode, like a lot of people are with the way of the world, the way things going. Go check out my brother Growing with Soul. Also, go check out my brother Cadillac Red Supreme Beast Boxing Talk on his channel. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk, excellent boxing content over there. Also, and definitely go check out the beloved Sister Queen Shawala Yah. Let's see who in the building. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a pretty hot topic in the HBCU streets. So, let's see who in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Motivation to be a millionaire. He says, salute Coach 67, chat, and Jaguar Nation. Salute to motivation to be a millionaire. One of my day one subscribers, Stomp Down, rocking with me. I appreciate you to the fullest. He said, I've been waiting for this live stream. Yeah, me too, because this particular topic, it's a hot button topic, you know what I'm saying? Let's see who else we got. Relax and calm, rain. Salute to your family. He said, salute Coach 67, chat, and Jag Nation. Man, salute to you, relax and calm, rain. He said, we welcome everyone from around the HBCU football world. Man, big facts, big facts. I appreciate it. I appreciate you to the fullest. And of course, he got Go Jags. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's scroll down. Man, my brother Blackwater Bayou. He says, salute, coach, and chat. Man, salute to your Blackwater Bayou. Salute to you. Salute to Adrian Crook. Man, salute to you. He said, man, I watched Johnny Cole nasty behind hitting like an MF for last night, shaking my head. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to keep it a brick. The HBCU football space is on fire. And my YouTube timeline is flooded with HBCU football content. Man, I'm not going to lie. I mean, you got them like from all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like HBCU football is rocking and rolling. I see all kind of content creators. I'm going to keep it a buck that I didn't even know exist. You know what I'm saying? But still in all, I want to shout out all the HBCU content creators I've been checking out. Of course, I'm going to start at the top with my brother C. Wells, Swag Talk, Carlos Brown, with the HBCU Broadcasting Network, or the Jericho Broadcasting Network, Perry White with the Jaguar Journal, Doc Holliday with HBCU Overdrive, Scotty with All Script, PV versus Everybody, MD Sports Network. Of course, Swag and the Fool, major shout out to them. Lace Up Podcast Network, Locked on HBCU. Of course, She Loves D. You got Rocky Miller, Alex Hines, the Bluebloods. Of course, since I mostly cover the SWAC. I cover HBCU football in general, but the SWAC Digital Network, you know what I'm saying? You got HBCU Nightly, Brave Sports Network, D Jackson State Football, the Blitz City Podcast, Jeff Lightsey Jr., HBCU Culture was something that popped up on my feed. And I guess Jackson State got more than one. So you got Jackson State Football, and then you got D Jackson State Football. So I'm not gonna lie, I've been seeing HBCU football just all over my timeline in terms of YouTube. Like I've been getting constant HBCU football notifications. So, man, major shout out to everybody that's in the HBCU football world space. Some of these content creators, of course, we know like Swag and the Fool and Swag Talk and Carlos Brown and Perry White and She Loves D and Doc Holliday with HBCU Overdrive. So a lot of these content creators are well known in the space. And then, of course, some of them not as much, but even with that being said, we got a lot of content in terms of like HBCU football. Definitely the Facebook groups that I'm in, like Rough in the Swag. I hadn't been able to, keep tabs on them like I normally would if I had my primary phone number up and running. But still in all, like the YouTube HBCU football space is hot, and of course this particular live stream, this has been a hot topic recently. Of course, today is the first day of school for students. Tomorrow, so students will be in the building, and then like these PD days we've been having, towards the beginning of the week, it's kind of been light work, but now the heavy lifting begins. So with that being said, I plan on being here for a good time, but not for a long time, you dig? And of course, like I said, this list has kind of been a hot button topic. So the title for today's live stream, HBCU football Blue Bloods debate. Who got snubbed from the elite Blue Bloods tier? And, of course, my brother Jay Good, salute to Jay Good. Jay Good sent me this. I think he sent me this like Thursday night, Friday morning, right? And a lot of people been talking about, this Blue Bloods elite like tier list in terms of, if you're in the first tier, second tier, whatever. So let me give my thoughts on this particular list. Of course, you got people, whether it's in the Facebook groups or on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. The conversation heavy on X, which is formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. People been sending me all kind of screenshots and all kind of stuff. So this is definitely a huge hot button topic, hot button issue. Just read some of the comments. Somebody said, who made this list? Who made this list? That's crazy. Of course, you got people saying this team should be higher, that team should be higher, this team should be on the list, these teams should be rearranged. So I'm not gonna get into too many of the comments because I won't give my thoughts on the list. Of course, you got the Blue Bloods at the top, the most historically dominant and iconic HBCU football programs. You got Grambling, FAMU, JSU, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars, and South Carolina State. Then you go below them, you have Tier 1, rich legacies, multiple titles, and strong regional recognition. You have Alcorn State, you have North Carolina A&T, you have Tennessee State, you have Hampton, you have Alabama State. Then Tier 2, competitive programs with moments of excellence. You have Alabama A&M, you have North Carolina Central, you have Howard, you have PV, and you have Bethune. And then you got Tier 3, limited football success historically, smaller budgets, or inconsistent performance. You have Delaware State, Morgan State, Norfolk State, Texas Southern, and UAPB. So they've had limited football success historically, smaller budgets, or inconsistent performance. So that is the tier list. So let me just start out at the top with the Blue Bloods. I ain't gonna lie, I think the Blue Bloods, the top tier, I think that's pretty accurate in my personal opinion. I think that's fairly accurate. With Grambling, FAMU, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars, JSU, and South Carolina State. For the most part, I think that's accurate. Now, moving on to Tier 1. I think this is where it starts to get a little bit murky for me. Myself and my brother Jay Good was starting to put this behind the scenes. And, my initial gut reaction was Alcorn State probably could arguably be amongst the Blue Bloods. In my mind, they could be amongst the Blue Bloods, but I think that's just kind of my immediate knee-jerk reaction, thinking back to the, late, like 2018, 2019, 2020, when Dawson Nobles couldn't beat Alcorn State. It also makes me think of like Don D.C. Carey. It makes me think about Steve Air McNair, especially Steve Air McNair. I think that's probably when he led Alcorn State to A.W. Mumford Stadium, Pete Richardson Field. I think that's probably the best game I ever saw in person in my life. So I really get to thinking about maybe these games and these guys and these years. And I think I kind of romanticize it a little bit. But, a lot of people saying they think Alcorn State should be moved down to Tier 2. I mean, so I don't know. But definitely a lot of people saying Tennessee State should be moved up to the Blue Bloods tier. And I'm not gonna lie, me, like I said, me and Jay Good was talking about this behind the scenes, and we was talking about how the movie Friday Night Lights, he was saying one of his partners didn't like it because his partner played for Dallas Carter. But I think real life Tennessee State was Dallas Carter in real life, like big, mean, nasty, strong, physical, and dirty is I don't know what. The way Alcorn State played against Southern and Long a year before last, doing all that like nasty, grimy, filthy stuff. That's what Tennessee State was at one point. Because I remember I was younger, and Jackson State and Tennessee State played on BET back in the Gap. And I'm not gonna lie, boy, Tennessee State was they had a good team, but man, it was just filthy, grimy, nasty, low down, dirty, getting all kind of personal fouls, unnecessary roughness penalties. And Tennessee State was some with some low down characters. But in terms of talent, oh yeah, I don't like Tennessee State. They were some dogs, you know what I'm saying? But every time I think of Tennessee State, I think of that back in the Gap, just them being just a grimy team. But truthfully speaking, you can arguably make the case that Tennessee State could be moved up into that elite Blue Bloods status. And if you want to remove anybody from the top of that list, I think they deserve to be there. But if we're going to make an argument for removing one of those 5 teams, I think it'll be South Carolina State. But, of course, when I think of South Carolina State, I know a lot of people think of the upset over Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl. Now, when I think of South Carolina State, I think of Southern playing them in a Heritage Bowl. I think it was, I'm not mistaken, 96. Senior brought us to that game, and another family that we really rock with. They came with us. So it was two families went to Atlanta. It was the Celebration Bowl now, but it was the Heritage Bowl back then. And we went to the game, great outing. Steve Warford, running back at the time, and Southern ended up winning that game. You know what I'm saying? So that's tier 1. Tier 2, and I'm not gonna lie. Another thing with tier 1, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I will switch Alabama State and Alabama A&M. I'll put Alabama A&M in tier 1, and I will bump Alabama State down to tier 2. So, and then of course, a lot of people talking about, it's just Division I programs. So it doesn't count the CIAA, it doesn't count the SAIC, the SIEC, but many people saying Tuskegee should be amongst the Blue Bloods. But the reason why Tuskegee is not on the list is because of the simple fact that it's just Division I programs. But I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to HBCUs, Tuskegee is the most winningest, most decorated HBCU program. But of course, that's on a lower level. Man, salute to my brother, Jared 11 Green. We just talked about you not too long ago in terms of HBCU fanatics being moved to your channel. We're going to have to verify that we're going to do our next episode on Saturday. So if you're still in the live stream, still in the chat, bro, put it in the chat so we can verify that we're going to do our next episode of HBCU Fanatics on Friday night. So just let me know. But anyway, a lot of people were saying that even though it's just Division I programs, many individuals saying that Tuskegee should be in that top tier. But like I said, when it comes to tier 1 and tier 2, I would swap Alabama A&M and Alabama State. That's just my personal opinion. That's just my opinion, but it is what it is. Also, when it comes to tier 2, you got, like I said, I would swap Alabama A&M and Alabama State. You got North Carolina Central, you got Howard, you got PV, you got Bethune. And of course, I'm a diehard Southern University fan member of Jaguar Nation. You know, when I think of Bethune, of course, I think of them playing against Southern in the Heritage Bowl. I think of PV. I think PV had a lot of success, like way back in the gap, but they also had a streak where they lost like what 66 games in a row. So you know, Howard, you know, North Carolina Central. Now I think you could make the case that North Carolina Central also could move up to tier 1. So just like I said, you can move Alabama A&M up. You can also move North Carolina Central up. And I think you move Alabama State down. Besides Alabama State, if I had to move another team down, hate to say it, I'll probably say would be Hampton, if anybody, but I think they accurately fit the tier 1. And of course, when I think of Hampton, I think of what it was like, what, 90, I think 96, 97. It was like the number 1 team ranked in that. There was the number 1 ranked team in the Sheraton poll, or the Black College Football poll. So there was number 1 team in the Sheraton poll. Southern was number 2. I think it was like Steve Walker senior year, if I'm not mistaken. They came to A.W. Mumford Stadium. And I kid you not, if a band is going to come to A.W. Mumford Stadium, the way their band came, that's the way it should be. They literally played all night long. For the exception of doing when the opposing offense had the ball, there were a few HBCU bands outside that actually honored that. However, even with that being said, their band played all night. It was like a real fun, festive atmosphere. We kept, I was wondering going into the game, man, Southern can't be as vanilla offensively. Mark Orlando pulled a couple tricks out. He tossed the ball to Steve Wolford at one point. They faked the reverse, and I think he ran like, 65, 70 yards or whatever it was. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. That was, when I think of Hampton, that's what I think of that night there. And then, of course, you got the bottom tier. You got Delaware State, Morgan State, Norfolk State, Texas Southern, and UAPB. And I'm going to keep it, I'm going to just be all the way honest. I know, like, Valley is not on this list, but I'm not even going to lie. Hell, if you got Texas Southern on here and you got Norfolk State, Delaware State, Morgan State, you could have had a Mississippi Valley logo too, because I know a lot of people think of Valley as the bottom feeder in the SWAC, but I think Valley pretty much on par with all these other teams on tier 3. Yeah, I mean, they got some teams that are not synonymous for, being like, like being powerhouses, you know what I'm saying? So, just kind of looking over it again, looking over the whole list, I think you can make an argument to move, when it comes to tier 2, you can move Howard and Prairie View down. And then at the bottom rung, like I said, Morgan State. Morgan State is, in my mind, has been historically bad. And I think Mississippi Valley pretty much is on par with all these other teams. So, like I said, I'm going to be here for a good time, not a long time. Unless the chat really pipe up, I'm probably going to cut it short a little bit. But, based on what I see, like I say, I think you could probably swap. Even though I think South Carolina State belongs with the Bluebloods, I think you could easily move Tennessee State up. I really can't see nobody move down from the Bluebloods. If you had to pick one team, maybe South Carolina State, you could swap South Carolina State, Tennessee State. Definitely swap Alabama State and Alabama A&M. I think you swap those two. You could potentially, I don't know. I think you could potentially move North Carolina Central up. That tier 2, like I said, you definitely move, in my opinion, you can move Howard and Prairie View down. And then at tier 3, that's kind of like the bottom feeder portion of this particular list. So I'm not gonna lie, just to be honest, I think for the most part, this list is pretty accurate outside of that. But honestly, we live in an age with Chat GPT and AI. I'm not gonna lie, as an educator, I use AI and Chat GPT all the time. I could tell because even when, like, I remember year before last, I gave students an assignment, and there's one particular student, I knew he wasn't capable of writing this type of paper. So he cut and pasted it, and he let AI do the paper for him. And I'm like, come here, bro. I'm like, did you write this paper? He was like, nah, coach, I didn't write it. And I'm like, so yeah. So I could kind of tell they let AI kind of help them with that. You know what I'm saying? They let AI help them with this list. I don't think this is straight, And I'm not saying you should never use AI or Chat GPT or whatever, but so my brother Jerry Loving Green said, yes, sir. We are going live on Friday night. HBCU Fanatic is going to be on his channel on Friday night. You know what I'm saying? Man, salute to my brother Brent Fox. Y'all go over to his channel and check him out with his show. It's Just Me starring Brent Fox tomorrow night, probably around this time. Of course, I ain't going to have no live stream tomorrow night. So, man, y'all go over to my brother Brent Fox channel with his show. It's Just Me starring Brent Fox tomorrow night, you dig. And Blackwater Bayou say, how is Alabama State a blue blood? They garbage, LOL. No, I mean, that's the thing about it. Alabama State is not a blue blood. According to this list, Alabama State is tier 1. That's right below the Blue Bloods. But like I said, I'm going to just kind of be truthful. I will swap Alabama State and Alabama A&M. I will move Alabama A&M up to tier 1, and I will move Alabama State down to tier 2. That's just my personal opinion, you know what I'm saying? And my brother J. Loving Green got the laughing emoji. And Brent Fox shouting out our other member of the LDBC collective, my brother Jerry Loving Green, Brent Fox. Y'all go to both of their respective channels and check it out. And like I said, I'm not gonna lie, this particular list, it has garnered a lot of attention in these social media streets. It's fostered a lot of debate, a lot of healthy conversation, a little bit of unhealthy conversation. It's kind of been a hot button topic. In all actuality, I was supposed to talk about this particular topic Saturday, but after we did the Black Man's Perspective on my brother J. Loving Green channel, and then some other stuff happened. I just kept pushing it back, and then I didn't want to talk about it the exact same time everybody else was talking about it. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, it is fostered some, like I say, some healthy conversation, some not so healthy conversation. And of course, in my next, I'm not gonna go live for the rest of this week, but I'm probably gonna drop a couple videos. I might not drop my next video till maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, depends on how this thing goes. And of course, I'm trying to close in on 1,000 subscribers. So if you have not done so already, please like this live stream, share it, and please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. The reason being because once I get this channel monetized, whatever little proceeds I'm going to get, from monetization, I'm going to invest back in the channel so I can do more content, like, just to kind of give an example, like the quality of video I gave for the 2025 Southern University Blue versus Gold spring game, with the human jukebox in the background, and you got certain plays from the Blue versus Gold spring game. You got the cheerleaders. I'm trying to get that level of production on a consistent basis, and the best way we could get some high quality content is if y'all subscribe to the channel. I get that 1,000 subscriber mark. Man, salute to my brother Anthony Bolton. Man, salute to your family. Say salute. Man, salute to your fam. But like I said, I planned on being here for a good time, not for a long time. I appreciate everybody that came through that can rock with me. I definitely appreciate all my day one subscribers, all my new subscribers, everybody that was in the chat, in the live stream, everybody that's gonna watch this later on playback. Man, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Motivation to be a millionaire, relax and calm rain, Blackwater Bayou, Adrian Crook, my brother Gerald 11 Green. Like I say, come over to his channel on Friday night. We're gonna do another installment of HBCU Fanatics. Come over to his channel and check him out. My brother Brent Fox, my brother Gerald 11 Green, my brother Anthony Bolton. Man, I appreciate everybody that dropped through, that came through to show some love. I appreciate everybody that's gonna watch this later on playback. And like I said, in my next coming video, I'm gonna talk about some more this meme that has kind of been circulating for several months around Rough and the Swag. So my next video, I'm not gonna go live again this week, probably till next week. But my next video, I'm gonna talk about this meme that has been floating around Rough and the Swag for some months now, and people been sending it to me again lately. It has resurfaced and recirculated. So that's gonna be my next video. Man, y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. I'm gonna catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings. And go Jags.